Second question will be formalized. So, who do you think this new government will serve? Is it going to serve Lebanon's development and Lebanon's national causes, or is it going to serve an Iranian agenda in the region? Since many people stipulate that this new government, which is Malashid and backed by the Hezbollah, is playing the proxy agent in the region.
Well, yeah, it's hard to answer this question because the government has not been formed yet, and we don't know what kind of government will be formed. Some people said that it will be a technocratic government, and it means that it will just be found to work the people and not to interfere in political things. And some people said it will be perfectly political government, and it will be led by Hezbollah. Actually, like, it's obvious they will lead it, because Saad Hariri will not enter this kind of government which is led by Hezbollah, and Hezbollah will control alone. And in this situation, the prime minister who's supposed to form the government, he said that he will protect the resistance, which is Hezbollah. And protecting the resistance means stopping the international court, which is a big. Stopping the international court is a big trouble, and keeping the international court is big trouble. And this is an issue which we are just waiting for to see what kind of response will Najib Mikati have, and what kind of government he will form. It's hard to predict, but it is impossible to follow directly the Iranian rules, which the Hezbollah is using, because it will be really. I don't think that it will happen, because if it happened, like, I'm not gonna say civil war, but a lot of troubles will happen inside, because more than 50% are against this value of what I believe, against to be controlled by another country, to be controlled by other values, especially if it was religious, because we are a multi-religious country, and you cannot be controlled by one religion. And I don't think that we will reach this time that we will be controlled by either Iran or the US, but we are just protecting the resistance means like the situation will stay as it is now, like a lot of trouble, but nothing is going on at the streets. This is what I expect for now.
Talking about Iran's willingness to influence and control the national affairs of Lebanon, don't you think it's quite improbable, since many agents are playing in this field? Syria, Iran, Israel. So we cannot have just one main player in the Lebanese scene while pushing the others outside. If Iran wants to go into Lebanon and influence it through Hezbollah, Syria won't accept the situation, and neither Israel is going to.
No. For Syria, they will really accept it, and they will like it, because they are allied with Iran, and they will get a lot of benefits as they took before. Because back before 2005, Syria was actually in Lebanon. Their army was in Lebanon, and they were taking a lot of benefits from that. And if Iran took over, or Hezbollah, or any party who is supporting that, it will benefit Syria. I don't think that Syria is a part of that. Syria is a facilitating part of that. But if we want to talk about Israel, here we can say that a lot of troubles will happen. As usual, as the US says and as Israel says, we will be considered as a terrorist country, and we will face a lot of troubles, wars, and if the Lebanese people were not wise enough, we will go to civil war to avoid this kind of occupation, or how can you give it a name?
Coming back to the resistance, do you think that the weapons of Hezbollah and rockets are legitimate under the constant threat of Israel, who is threatening that any moment can take over Lebanon? Or do you prefer to see those weapons under the guidance and the management of the army, and kind of involving Hezbollah's members and enrolling them in the national protecting forces, which is what you call the army, and which is a safer option for you?
Okay, first, I'm a Lebanese citizen. This means that I belong to a country, I belong to a government, I belong to an army which had to protect me. First, kind of resistance. I really admire this resistance, and I really like them, and they are very good. They defended Lebanon 2006. They were really brave and they were really strong. But still, I support the option of government and the option of army, and I support the option of people's will and what people choose. If we did elections or anything to see what people want, if people wanted a resistance to stay as a resistance, then I support this idea. And if people wanted the government to control the war and peace, of course I support it. And since now, the supporters of government, the supporters of the army are winning, and this is why I could believe in people's will. People's will say that, and it's my own opinion as well, to have unified army, not two armies, not to have like it's a common word used in Lebanon now. In order to keep it safe, they say government, army, and resistance. That the country is based on three things. I want the government to be based on two things: the army and the government. And if the government takes the support of the majority of the people, or maybe 100% of the people, since all of the parties are contributing in the government, and this government can decide war or peace, can control this army, and can protect like the 18 religions found in Lebanon, and not to keep it for only one kind of. I really support the idea of the government controlling the country, not the resistance controlling the decisions of the government.
As you may have heard, the UN-backed tribunal who is investigating the assassination of Rafiq Hariri is going to issue his last report in next few days or weeks. Who do you think this report might accuse? Is it like, are you thinking there is Syria's officials and generals, maybe Hezbollah as predicted, or the Israeli military and intelligence? As Lebanese, what's your opinion?
Okay, as Lebanese, all these options you have mentioned, or maybe options you didn't mention yet, maybe are contributors in this criminal. But like a part of those killers should have been, I'm not good at detecting, but part of those killers should have been inside Lebanon and should have been staying in Lebanon till now. I don't know who are they, I don't know what do they do in Lebanon. But of course there is a Lebanese part or a Syrian part has contributed this criminal, because it cannot be completed without their help. I don't know, maybe people have been paid money or to do that. I don't know what kind of things, but there is a very strong background behind that. And to find this truth, we have only one way, and the ones this way have been selected. And Lebanese judges cannot. It's impossible to them to know. They don't have the abilities or the facilities to get to know who killed Rafiq Hariri. We have only one solution to go on, and if we didn't know the truth, then maybe one of my family, I don't know, maybe one of my family had been killed him, and I've been living with him till now, and maybe somebody from outside, maybe from somebody from the US, I don't know who he is, but the truth should be known. And it's not fair to compare truth or war or killing people inside the country. This is not fair. The truth should be known. And I don't know how people can predict that how can people predict that they will accuse Hezbollah as a part? How can they know that? How I don't know, like it's predictable, or I don't know, God knows if they know information from before, or maybe they did it, I don't know, like I cannot accuse anyone, but the truth should be known. Like, and the people should be wise enough. People should be wise enough, like, this is the country you have to live in, and the truth should be known. And let's say that we stop this international court, what will happen now? That the killer will be never known, and other people will be killed, and so on and so on. Everything will continue. But now, if you have an international court, it has probably, it will find who was killed, and like the idea of being politicalized, I don't support this idea because I don't know. I don't think that we have to wait and see what will happen. And if it will accuse Hezbollah or the part or other people or Syria or Iran or Israel or US, there should be a proof, and you should have to look at the proof. If it was evident enough, we can know that if they did or not. But preventing it from appearing at all, I don't support this idea. The truth should be known. The killer should be stopped.
But we're talking here about a really crucial compromise. Are you ready to trade stability and peace inside Lebanon for truth who might not have huge impact or consequences on the field?
What do you mean by might not have huge impacts? What do you mean by that?
What do you think are the outcomes of knowing who killed Rafik Hariri, since this won't change anything? Rafik Hariri is gone, and the political field have seen many changes. And
okay. I understand what you mean. You mean like Rafik Hariri was killed, and it's fine. Like we should not destroy the country because Rafik Hariri was killed. Okay, I will tell you. Maybe you don't know. You need to know who was Rafik Hariri or who is Rafik Hariri. You need to know who is. What did Rafik Hariri do? How was the country before Rafik Hariri? How was the country after Rafik Hariri? You have to check all that. The person who killed Rafik Hariri didn't kill Rafik Hariri. He just destroyed the country. He just stopped the country from developing by killing Rafik Hariri. And this person, if you didn't know who he was or who he is, then another Rafik Hariri would be killed. Another person another person who dreams of Lebanon, another person who dreams of developed Lebanon will be killed just because he's like that. And it's not a matter of Rafik Hariri or his son want to know who killed his father. It's not about that. We all know who was Rafik Hariri. We all loved Rafik Hariri. Rafik Hariri worked for Lebanon. He didn't work for political party. He didn't work for religion. He was Lebanese, and this is why he was killed. And Jabran Afghani is one of the people who was killed just by saying that Muslim and Christian should be unified in front of million people. This is the killer. We have to know who is him. Who is he? But if you want to compromise stability with this one, it's not fair thing. It's not fair thing. If the people who want to destroy the country or to get rid of stability in the country just because not knowing who is the killer, I don't consider them as really Lebanese people. I don't think them as defending their country. They are destroyed at this country. We have to know the truth. We have to know. I don't care what consequences will happen, but we have to know who is the killer. At least we know who is with us, who is against us.
So what you're insinuating basically is that by killing Rafik Hariri, they didn't just kill a person, but it's a whole concept, a way of life being destroyed. Is Rafik Hariri for the Lebanese is kind of a father, a loving father who worked for Lebanon, and now when he's been assassinated, is this whole dream who's falling apart. That's why I'm insinuating, right?
This whole dream had been carried by his son, even though he didn't do anything during his time. But I can see what happened to his son during his time. He had never left alone to control. He had never left to rebel if he had his mind. But he said that he wanted to continue the dream of his father, and this is why he is being fought till now. They are fighting him till now because he wanted to continue the dream of his father. And who knows who will be killed after that if he didn't know the truth. And because there is a big, huge political party who believed in Rafik Hariri and won't continue what Rafik Hariri dreamed of. But this is why we want truth. We want to continue this. We want to continue development.
So thank you very much for this nice conversation. It was a pleasure, and we hope to talk to you next time about other issues concerning Lebanon.